get started. So I'm going to ask for participation. Obviously, Lori, please don't chime in because we want you to save your voice. And then let's first start with our icebreaker question, or our hot topic, which is, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? Who wants to start?
I'll start. I want to go to Hawaii.
I do too. Good. Tell us why.
That is my dream vacation. That is the closest I'm going to get to God. To me, that is the most breathtaking environment that we've seen on pictures. You see, pictures and in other ways that they've displayed that city or town or country, or whatever they call Hawaii. And it just brings peace. It's a sense of peace. That blue water really, does something to you. And just the thought of sitting on a beach drinking margaritas or whatever they drink out there is just heaven.
Awesome, Val. Yeah, nice eyes, getting the beautiful beach weather, blue water. I love it. So great dream. Nicole said me. She wants to go next.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me know if there's too much background noise, but I want to go to Los Cabos, Mexico. Yay. And I'm not just being a cornball and trying to plug our incentive trip, but as I was watching videos to plan for it, I was watching a video by Emily Seagren, and she's breaking down, the incentive for all the representatives. She's like, mark it up on your calendar. It's June 2nd to June 5th. And I stopped and I was like, OMG. That's my anniversary weekend. It is. It's my anniversary weekend. And so the backstory is, my husband and I, we've been together for 9 years and we've been married for 7. And we had a small wedding. Neither one of us wanted a really big wedding. And, in addition to that, we really didn't have a lot of money to have a big wedding anyway. And we didn't do a honeymoon. We did like a little staycation. And so he and I are always saying, we're like, we want to go somewhere. I'm like, I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere. I want to go somewhere. Just he and I on our anniversary weekend, just relax away, and celebrate our anniversary. And so I want to make this incentive trip that vacation. And so I'm putting it on my calendar.
Yes.
I'm getting childcare lined up. I'm getting the dog sitters lined up, because what Emily said is, she said, the first thing, you need to do to make this a reality is, she said, just plan to go. She's like, start planning to go. She said, don't put in the work. She said, because if you put in the work first, or you start doing the work first, you're going to say, well, I'll put the work in, and if I make it, I make it. But she said, if you plan to go, she said, you're going to do whatever it takes to put the work in to get there.
Absolutely.
Because you've already planned to be there. So I am super, super, super.
So if you have a plan, then you will achieve it, right?
You will achieve it, because in your mind, you're already there. You've already planned to be there.
Awesome.
Yes.
So you must have gotten somewhere with him over the weekend, because last time we talked, you said he didn't really sound like he wanted to go.
No, you know what it is? I don't think he realized it was our anniversary weekend.
Good.
I didn't really read over it, I just I've been so busy. I've been running around. I really haven't had the chance to dig in and break it down. I know you gave me the tracker, and I have the tracker, and I have that printed out so that I can visually see where I'm going with it. And then I said, okay, I want some time to just break this down, make sure I have all the rules right, and regulations right, and then I'll go. So Emily Seagren does a really good job of breaking down incentives. Like, every time a new incentive comes out, she will do a video for her team, because her team is enormous, just breaking down the incentive, how you can, the rules, the regs, and how you can get there. So I wasn't even paying attention to the date. I hadn't even paid attention to the date of the trip. I just knew I was going. And then when I found out that the trip was on our anniversary weekend, then I was like, oh, I'm definitely going. Definitely going.
Good. And we'll talk about it because all of you have expressed that you want to go to Los Cabos. So as we go through planning, that'll be something that we can also do as part of your plan, especially with the Head Start. So looking at the Head Start and all of that, we talked a lot to that during our one-on-ones for goal setting as well. So as we do our planning, we'll incorporate that Los Cabos trip into that and really start the tracker. So love that, Nicole. Does anybody else want to share where they would go if they could go anywhere in the world and why?
Okay, I'll go next.
Okay,
This is
Patricia.
I think I want to do the Mexico trip too because I realized that the time that we're there, that's actually my birthday, June 5th. I was like, what a great way to have a birthday.
Yeah.
With all my Avon family. Yeah, so I said, I want to celebrate my birthday in Mexico. I've been to Mexico Labor Day weekend. Our son got married in Mexico. That was really great. So this would be a great time to go back just for my birthday.
Great. So we're all going to be setting those goals and putting the plans into place. Nicole says Patricia and you and Patricia will be celebrating together. I love that. Does anybody else want to take a shot before we delve into our goal setting a little bit more? No? Perfect. Lori wants to take her family on a cruise. I love that, Lori, and we can get you there. So we'll talk about that during your planning as well. Great, guys. So I noticed that Tammy joined the call, and I would love for Tammy to just speak a little bit to what goal setting did for her and what she's realizing it can do for her team, because she was absolutely thrilled when we got done doing goal setting last week.
Oh my gosh, it just recharged me. I realized just how close I am to bronze leader and how easily it would be to get there. Just by using that Build the Love incentive to help these girls get their iPad. I have quite a few interested. I just went back through my pending appointments and started contacting each and every one of them, told them, hey, you can win an iPad, and told them how. And I told them how many daily care collections all they had to do was use those daily care collections, get people to help them, give them some kind of incentive, or maybe even give them a free collection if they'll go out and sell those daily care collections for them, and get her, 6 or 8, 10 helpers coming and have them sell the daily care collections and get $3,000 in sales and get that iPad. And once that happens, oh my gosh, if even one of those girls hit that incentive, I'm so close to bronze. If 2 of them hit that incentive, I'm definitely way beyond bronze leader.
Yep. So just by identifying that one missing link, right?
Yep.
Tammy was able to see that bronze leader is in her very near future. So how many pendings did you end up having, Tammy?
I have 24 pendings.
So 20. Okay.
I have 24 pendings that have never placed an order, and then I have another 13 that are still in that eligible phase that have placed orders after July 11th. Another 13 that can actually still earn that iPad.
And we talked a little bit about they're not only earning the iPad, they're also what?
They're getting to almost gold ambassador.
Silver ambassador.
If they recruit.
Yep, and points for the trip.
Oh, yeah, points for the trip. Yep.
So as long as they're building their team, they can hit gold ambassador within the incentive time. At least, they're at least hitting silver ambassador. And then also earning toward Los Cabos and getting the iPad. So this was all things that Tammy uncovered as we were setting goals. And then when were you going to get to bronze leader? Campaign what? 25, baby. I love it. Great. So meeting her goals and her dreams of getting to bronze leader before the end of the year. Does anybody else want to share what it did for them? Because all of you kind of had aha moments as we went through goal setting.
Yes, I'd like to share. Going through the goal setting phase with you, it was a phenomenal activity because numbers don't lie. You know, analytical minds see numbers and they crunch numbers. So how can I get to this? So you almost work backwards. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I'm closer than I thought I was. Yeah. And you know, as you dissect the categories, you know, who's not placing orders, you know, who's past due, who's so close, who's hasn't haven't contacted with. You get a sense of, okay, those are my step 1, step 2, my planning. So now I know each day, you know, to check my vibe, check my numbers, check in with my team. So it's the goal setting and planning definitely, you know, apples and bananas. No, that's not a good analogy. Yes, it is. 2 fruits.
So what was the other one big thing, Valerie, that there was one big gap that you discovered pretty quickly and you're like, okay, this is what I need to work on the most?
That's new recruits. Definitely have to build a team because one brick at a time builds a house. Okay. So, you know, if I'm just working with what I have, you know, that much I pretty much know. But now I need to just add new members every campaign. It is, you know, and of course teach them to order. But those also go hand in hand. You can still earn money, you can still, you know, get to your goal, but you have to maintain your goal. You have to continue. So that means you have to keep adding fresh blood.
Great. Yeah, and you were pretty adamant about making sure that you hit a certain number of either reinstates or new representatives to your team every single campaign in order to get to your goal, which is what?
Bronze leader.
By when?
By C26. It's going to happen.
And then as we go into planning, we'll identify how, but you did already share that with me a little bit. So how are you getting there and how many did you commit to per campaign on average?
At least 2 every campaign. I need a minimum of 2 new recruits, which is 1 a week, which is literally my 5x5, talking to 5 people every day, 5 times a day or something like that.
No, you're right. So 5x5, 5 people a day, 5 days a week, whatever days you want. Tammy's really, really good at that, right, Tammy?
Yes, I am.
So if you need help with it, get with Tammy because Tammy literally does. What did you tell me you do? You don't do 5x5. You do more than that, really.
I do about 10 a day for 5 days a week.
So she does the 10x5. And what is that amounting to you as far as recruits per campaign, Tammy?
Well, I'm usually getting about 3 to 5. I got 4 this past week.
Yep. So she has sometimes 5 or 6.
Oh, excellent.
So you can even make that more if you have time. And I mean, we'll tie that into planning today to look at what the time amount you have to allot for that is. But you know, you guys all have such amazing goals, and you know, but I enjoy this so much. Goal setting is my favorite one because I always see such a huge turnaround in all of your businesses as we go through goal setting. Valerie, I just want you to chime in just one more time again because you said something to me. You've been with Avon 16 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say to me? I think we just finished up going through it all, and you said something about what it did for your business, what it's going to do for your business, and what it did.
Well, the empowerment of, you know, knowing where you are and knowing where you're going jump starts, just sets a whole new program for yourself regarding your whole life. It just, goal setting has just not just your business, but it's a lifetime thing. If you do it, you goal set and plan, you can achieve anything.
Yeah, and you said something like, I think you've never sat down and actually broken it down that way before in 16 years. You've never had somebody sit down and break it down in that way.
Exactly. And you don't really, even though I crunch numbers, you still have to know, what you're crunching and, how to put it on the paper, because if you think it, if you ink it, you think it. No, think it, you ink it, because you can actually visualize it. You see it on paper, it brings it to life, and you can actually go back each time and say, okay, did I get it? Did I make it? Am I still there? So the visual is phenomenal. It's so important.
Yes, and you're not the first person I had heard that from, so I just thought it phenomenal, Valerie being an accountant and crunching numbers all the time, right? And just not knowing where to get the numbers are really what were the most important things to look at, was what was so big for her. I mean, she got the multiplication and all of that fine, because that's what she does all the time. But it was just so great to hear. And I know that by setting those goals, you guys are going to get all your dreams and everything's going to come true. Just because Lori has laryngitis, I just want to chime in with Lori's goal. So Lori's main goal is recruiting. Sales come pretty easy to her, which is great. So she can duplicate her sales. She has the 2-foot rule. Everyone within 2 feet of me knows about my Avon business and gets a catalog. I love that. I've never heard the 2-foot rule before. So just so you guys kind of know what Lori's doing and what her goals are and how that works. And I'll talk to Lori more this week about her goals. So thanks, Lori. Awesome. Does anybody else have anything you guys feel like we need to know about goal setting, or want to share your goals with the group before we go into planning?
I'll share my goals.
Okay.
So my goals are similar to Lori and Valerie, and it's recruiting. I relate to Lori because selling Avon comes easy to me too. Selling Avon actually comes really easy because I love the products and I love sharing them with people, and it's a lot of fun. Recruiting is what is challenging for me. So when we sat down last week, we set the goal that I would have, I wrote it down. I think that one new qualified recruit. Here we go. Yes, at least one new qualified recruit each campaign. I'm also committing to working with Alma, my team leader. Carla is a big advocate for utilizing Alma also to help with your recruiting goals. And so she has a blueprint for her team, Team Incredible, that she has us follow. So I'm actually committing to following that and putting into my work schedule time to work my Alma leads. But this is timely. This leadership meeting is timely because Carla's last blog post was, 5 things all network marketers should be doing every week. And then she also did a live video on how to manage your time. And so in addition to recruiting, my biggest challenge is managing my time. And I'm sure recruiting will come a little bit easier once I get my schedule down. So I didn't get a chance to look over the PDF, like the paperwork to go with today's meeting, but I see calendar. I see one page has like a 2-week calendar and about like timing. And so that is something I really need. And if you guys are on YouTube, Carla's on YouTube. She has a great video. She just did a great live video on time management, how to manage your time when you're running your small business. She said, not everyone's going to have the same amount of time to dedicate to their business. Some people will have 5 hours a week. Some people have 10 hours a week. Some people will have 20 hours a week. She said it's going to vary wildly. But she said the key is percentages. And so she said, be honest with yourself about how much time you can dedicate to your business. So if it's only 6 hours, it's 6 hours. Carla's like, I won't beat you up. You know, I won't compare you to someone who can dedicate 20. She's like, if 6 is all you can do, great. She's like, we're going to work with your 6 hours. She said 70% of your time, however much time you have to allot to your business, should be going towards income generating activities. 30% should go to non-income generating. 70% needs to go to generating. So if you've got 6 hours, I guess that would mean like 4.5. If you've got 10 hours, that would mean what, 8. So if you've got 20 hours, that would mean 16 to 18. She's like, whatever you can allot, make sure that at least 70% of it, the majority of it, goes to income generating activities. And then she goes into what income generating activities are, because once you say, okay, you've got to spend this much time on income generating activities, the next question becomes, well, what's an income generating activity? And that I think that is where people get caught up, is they don't really know how to identify what an income generating activity is. And so if you don't do that, you'll find yourself being busy, working, but your business isn't growing. And so that's kind of the boat that I saw myself sliding into. It's like, oh my God, I'm working, and my business is stagnating. What's going on? And Carla said, quite frankly, she said, an income generating activity is any activity that gets you either a new sale or a new recruit at the end of the day. She said, if at the end of the day, you do not have a new sale or a new recruit, she's like, it is not an income generating activity for you. Now, she was saying that income, tell me to shut up, because you know I talk a lot.
No, you're fine. We're still good. We're on time. We're good.
You know, she was saying that that's where a lot of people get tripped up, is they're doing all these activities that don't generate them income. So mostly working your ALMA leads, prospecting, doing your 5x5 or your 5x10 or your 3x3, and essentially just telling people about your business. So Lori's got the 2-foot rule. That's applicable for recruiting too, because Rhonda Voss teaches her Team Boss, the 3-foot rule, which is similar, which is anyone who's within a 3-foot radius of you will either get a campaign magazine with, you know, telling them about your business, or information about recruiting. And Rhonda,
it's almost like arm's length, right? Whoever's in arm's length of you gets something from you.
Yeah. And as long as they're open, what Carla says is, as long as they're open, and when we mean by open is that if you smile at them and they smile back, chances are they'll, you know, take a sample or take a campaign, and you can talk to them. But so my thing is, I really need to focus on income generating activities, put more focus into that, and less into sales generating activities, which is preparing campaigns. Like, people are like preparing campaigns. And it was funny because she asked the group, she said, I want you guys to get on the comments and let's name some income generating activities. And people were like, stamping and labeling your brochures. And she was like, no. She said, no. She said, getting them out, handing them out, and putting them in people's hands is income generating. But she's like, sitting in your office, labeling them, stamping them, and putting samples in them.
What did she say, Nicole? Because I haven't watched it, and I would love to. And I think this is
watch it. I won't spoil it then. Watch it. This is
something I think that goes along for all of us with planning and goal setting, especially planning. I mean, I think it would be something good to watch. But I have a question because I haven't seen it. She's saying getting them into hands, all of that. What does she say about follow-up? Does she say anything about follow-up or getting their information?
Follow-up is definitely an income generating activity. Absolutely.
So does she talk about getting information though?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
She said when you're it, get the information, and following up. That's definitely an income generating. So when we get off of this call, I actually am going to follow up with the people. Well, I sent them a text over the weekend, but now I'm actually going to get on the phone with the people that I met on Friday. And I spoke with Amy, who was interested in being recruiting, and she was having family time. So she said for me to call her today. So I'll be following up with them today. Yep.
Okay, great. And just let me know how that goes, and we'll talk about that more offline. But can you just tell everybody one more time? It's on YouTube. It's Carla Lytle, 7 Ways of Income Generating Activity.
If you go, no, it's time management.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up real quick.
It's okay. You could. Why don't you just put it in the chat box for everybody so that we know? I just think that, you know, it can be useful information.
Yeah.
She is, you know, so great at building a team and building sales. So I definitely think it goes right along with our time management and planning that we're going to now roll into. So that was a perfect segue to get into planning. So now that we've set our SMART goals and we've got everything set up, right? And you guys all feel really good about your goals. Now you have to have a good plan, right? So we know you have to have that plan in place in order to meet those goals. And then, as we just talked about, you also need to know how much time you can dedicate to that plan and those goals. So it's really important to know, okay, like Nicole said, I only have 6 hours or I have 36 hours. It's going to look a lot different at how quickly and how effectively you're growing your business. If you have, you know, 36 hours to spend rather than just 6, we may need to do some things a little bit differently, right? So we'll talk about that today and as we get into our one-on-one. And everybody can see my screen, correct? Yes. Okay, great. So today we'll go through planning again. So the O in outreach, the O, so the O in boss, right? We always go through one of the acronyms in boss. How you're going to plan to grow your team, which, how about all of you had a goal of growing your team? So it's perfect. And then planning your Avon time, which I think probably watching Carla's video also will help you with that. Planning the right balance of activities. Again, it's all kind of coming full circle to what Nicole was just talking about as well. So are you putting on your calendar income generating activities? And do you have the right balance of income generating and non-income generating? Because you still have to do some non-income earning activities, right? And then prioritizing and gaining control of your business. So what is most important? What's urgent? What can wait? And then planning to take action. So your 2-week calendar, and I just want to preface your 2-week calendar with this. If you already have a calendar in your phone or on your computer or written down in a planner, please just share it with me however you want. You can take a picture of it. You can share your Google Calendar with me, whatever you feel comfortable with, but don't feel like you need to use the last page of the application guide to recreate a whole new 2-week calendar. I just kind of, you know, we want to go over what's your rhythm and process. What's it looking like? What do we need to maybe change up a little? What do we need to add? But I don't want you to recreate the wheel. That's just a guide. So that 4th page is kind of just a guideline for you. Now, if you don't have a calendar, then you may very well need to utilize that. And we'll get into it when we get to the application guide. So let's first take a look at the O in BOSS, which is outreach. So it's a module about outreach, planning your outreach. So who do you need to know to achieve your goals? What do you need to know to achieve those goals? And what do you need to do to meet new people? So I think we talked a lot about that already, but, you know, throw some things out there if you want. Who do I need to know to achieve my goals? And what do I need to do to meet new people? You know, what are you guys thinking? What are some things, think outside the box where you can meet new people or utilize people you know?
Ask for referrals from your team members who are not interested in leadership.
Boom. Love it. Anything else that you guys can think of?
What we need to do to meet new people?
Yeah, what are some things you're doing to meet new people, or what are you doing with people that you already know, or who do you feel like you need to know in order to be successful?
I'm going to leverage my team. I kind of sat down to realistically look at my time and what I can do for prospecting. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leverage my team, my current team. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a giveaway because I've got a ton of free swag from, yes, Laura, you're right. I do need to get out of my comfort zone. Oh, prospecting makes me so uncomfortable. I'm going to leverage my team. So I'm going to go about meeting new people in different ways. I'm going to use a few different avenues. So first thing I'm going to do is leverage my team. I got a ton of swag from all these events. And so I'm actually going to use them as team giveaways. So I just sent out a referral to my team that I'm calling it referral or recruiting season because it's holiday season. And so people are looking for more ways to earn money so that they can buy, holiday gifts and take holiday family trips. And so I said to them, now's the time to recruit. And I said, for every team member who adds on a qualified new recruit, in addition to Avon's payout, you're going to get a free full-size set. I do have a few team members who don't want to get into leadership, so I said, that's okay. Send those referrals my way. If they sign up and they convert to active, you will still earn that kit for giving me that referral. So I'm utilizing my team and also doing that sampling event kind of like really lit a fire underneath my butt. And I've never utilized the 2-foot rule, Lori. I've heard of the 2-foot rule, but I've never used it. And so I actually utilized it yesterday while I was doing deliveries. I had some time in between deliveries, so I just went to the local Walmart on South Tryon, and I grabbed a lot of those samples, the new Ultimate samples that I had stamped and ready to go. And while I was going through Walmart, I put 10 of them in my hand. And as I was going through Walmart, I was handing them out.
Great.
And talking to people. It was a Sunday, so it was really busy and it was really crowded. And people were kind of just blowing by. I really didn't get any phone numbers, but it just helps with me with learning and practice and, increasing my comfort level with getting out there and prospecting and meeting new people.
Good. So I switched it to this slide while you were talking, Nicole, just because it kind of related more to this because you started to talk about your next team members and what you're doing with them in order to get them growing as well. And then the referrals as well, like Valerie spoke to. So getting those referrals as well. So if they're not interested in leadership, we wouldn't know why they wouldn't be. But if they aren't, then giving those people to you, because we still want to make sure that if somebody needs the opportunity, right, that we're offering it to them, no matter if they're joining, someone on your team's team or your team. So we are also going to talk today a little bit more about what representatives on your team are your next leaders and how to identify them as well, which some of you, like Valerie, already started doing while we were sitting there during goal setting. And, most of you did. Tammy and I talked about one person. I know Patricia and I talked about a couple people. Nicole, I think we identified one or two. So we kind of already jumped the gun with that, which is great because we have those wonderful incentives right now, right? We want to ensure that we're not waiting until it's too late. So we did kind of already bridge that into the conversation while we were goal setting. So you guys also just talked about the best ways to find new people to join Avon. So yeah, giving out samples, the 2-foot rule, I'll say the arm length rule. So all of those things, just getting out in the community, right? But let's also look at a few different ones if you weren't thinking about these events, sampling events you guys said. Here's a couple other ones. So planning to connect with new people. If my slide will advance today, you guys know I have these computer issues. So repeat your success and then pursue your top customers, which I think you all spoke to either today or last time we talked. Leveraging your personal network. We know you all do that, especially when you first start, right? getting involved in your community. So especially this time of year with fundraising, I think all of these places are great places to do a fundraiser. PTA, schools, hospitals. A lot of times those fundraising organizers or somebody doing the fundraiser, participating in it, actually tends to be a new team member. A lot of times when we're done, they see how successful it was and they're like, well, I can do this. Why don't I sign up? Attending community events. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, I know probably a lot of you were at one this weekend too, but there's so many fall festivals. There's so many different trunk or treats coming up in the next couple weeks. So you've got all of that, plus all of the holiday vendors and everything that are coming up. So this is the time of year for sure to be attending all of those community events. We just talked about fundraisers and then running regular Avon opportunity meetings. Is anybody doing opportunity meetings at this point, or are they sending their potentials to an opportunity meeting?
Not yet. That's been on my to-do list for so long, and I have not had the time, and I need to make the time.
Okay.
To create an opportunity meeting. I actually this year's Rec Fest, that was the topic for discussion in a leadership meeting. So it was actually a continuing education and training leadership meeting for people in executive leadership and also like the ambassador leadership level. And it was Ursula Huntley did the presentation. She did a great job. And it was about how to create essentially creating an opportunity meeting and how you can work that into your business. I actually snuck in because at the time I was still just like a promoter. I don't even know if I was a star promoter. I was just a promoter. I wasn't even supposed to be there. And I snuck in because I like Ursula. Nobody kicked me out. But I took all the notes from that presentation and I still have them. And I am still brainstorming how to do that. That's definitely something I want to do. I'm still brainstorming it.
Good. So
she gave us so many ideas on how to do it.
There's so much information already out there for you too. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Also, I think Rhonda's team does one, but more importantly, Avon does one. Did you guys know that? So every Thursday night, Avon has an opportunity meeting. And you can invite any of your potential recruits to it. Just make sure that they have your referral code. But they can be on there. So that's why I'm here to tell you. Yeah, Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. And you guys all should be getting a link for it. If you are not, please let me know. But you want to send that link out to anybody who would be interested if you personally can't hold one yourself. I mean, obviously it's fantastic to be able to send a new person to an opportunity meeting, or somebody who's thinking about the opportunity to say, hey, join this Zoom meeting, or, join me Saturday. I'm actually going to do coffee for everybody and we're going to chat. I'll have 3 people there. I mean, that'd be really wonderful, but sometimes it doesn't work out. So that every Thursday night, Avon does one for you. So I will get the information out to you, but you all, again, should be getting something from Avon letting you know. If you aren't, then I will forward it to you. But you need to be, checking that. It would be from Avon letting them know to join the opportunity meeting. So there is something out there for you. Also, Nicole, you don't have to recreate the wheel because Avon has the opportunity meeting for you to also download and speak to. So there's a PowerPoint already created for it that leaders can utilize on Vibe. It's actually in Avon U under resources. So the opportunity meeting is in there. The deck is in there for you to utilize as well. So I hope that helps, because I know you guys all want to do them because they really do help. It's really awesome. Yes, Jennifer, you should be getting the email every week. So this is the big one. So what representatives are your next leaders? And I know a lot of you are thinking about this, and sometimes you're just not sure of, are they really going to want to? Should I really spend my time with them? This is a good grid to kind of, put that to rest and let you know these are the people that you want to be talking to about leadership. These are the people that should red flag you in your head that should be a potential leader. Things like high motivation. So they have the belief in Avon. They want to grow their business. They're super driven. They're coachable, which in coaching we'll go more into that, but you know what coachable is. They want your help. They want to hear from you. They're responsive when you ask open-ended questions. They're super participatory in anything that you have. So they post on Facebook when you post. They're really positive. They don't speak negatively of the business, and they love to help other people. That is one person who you can say to them, okay, let's talk about leadership. Another person, and it could be the same type of people, they might be high in both because they usually are, is they have sales success. So there's somebody who has the highest sales on your team. They're consistently placing orders. They might be President's Club or above. They always pay Avon on time. You notice that they consistently are growing customers, and then they also have a knowledge of the business. So they're leveraging other tools. Maybe they have a fundraiser. Maybe they use the what's new to buy demos, and they're having a house party or, a grand opening or something like that. So there's lots of different avenues you can look at. Now, if they're high in both, you can see on there that big star, right? If they're high in both, then they're definitely on your radar. So if they're really super motivated, and normally if they're high in sales, they're high in motivation, right? So those are the people that you want to identify immediately. And we're going to talk about them as we go through planning in your one-on-one. We're going to talk about who you've identified, and then we'll go into coaching after that, and you'll be having coaching conversations with the ones that you've identified. Does this make sense to everybody? Are we good? Is there anything else you want to add that you feel might be important when identifying this person? It's pretty laid out, right? Okay, good. So planning your Avon time. Oh my goodness, my favorite one. So how much time is required to achieve your goals is the first thing you want to think about. And then how much time do you have available given your other responsibilities? So Avon time and other time. So if you work a full-time job, you probably don't have as much time as somebody who does Avon full-time, right? So we need to really think about that and really start to delve into your business a little bit more and think about, Nicole said this is where she needs help, time management. I think I would say across the board, it's probably what I hear the most, especially in those competency categories in our very first chat. Most people check that they're either inconsistent or challenged with time management. And this is going to help you break it down. This is the module for time management. You're going to love it if that's what you feel like you need help with. Because you're going to start to be able to identify, okay, I really do only have 10 hours, or maybe I only want to spend 10 hours on my business, right? So we have to just really think about that. And then, going to the next slide, then we want to make the most of that time, kind of to what Nicole talked about before and what Carla's video is about. So you want to have the right balance then. So focusing 50 to 70% of your time on your personal business, focusing 25 to 50% of your time on leading. So you can see personal business is planning, selling, and managing. Team is leading. So really figuring out how you can divide that time, right? Now, somebody who is a bronze leader or above is probably spending more like that 50% of the time leading their team because they have a bigger team, right? They might have 80 to 150 people on their team or more, and they have to spend 50% of their time leading. Does that make sense to everybody? Why they would be spending more time than, let's say, a promoter on leading? Okay, perfect. Yeah. And you can read through this. I'm not going to read through it for you. You guys have it in your reference guide. You can see what each quadrant entails. And then if you have questions to it, just let me know. But the biggest part is the leading, because again, this is a leadership program, right? So conducting coaching conversations with your downline, modeling success. Ooh, duplication, I hear there, right? Conducting training in your downline, and then sharing best practices with your downline. Those are all leading. So are we doing those things? Jennifer says she's about 80-20, and that's probably right. Jennifer, you're Gold Ambassador. She's typing. You can come on if you want, but probably about right. We might start going upwards of the 30% at Gold Ambassador, so we'll look at it. So divide your selling time equally between your selling opportunities. So a lot of people get that piece confused too. Personal recruiting is part of your personal business. It's not part of leading. So are you spending 25% of your time on your sales and 25% of your time on selling the opportunity? And we'll talk more to that as we get into this. So once you understand how you should balance your activities, it's really important to actually plan what you're going to do. So you want to write down a list or a task list of all your planned activities. And a lot of you did that during goal setting. That's why we put on there, just make a list of activities. Don't actually talk about, the exact thing they're going to be. It's more of like your strategies and your ideas. Now you want to really break them down. You want to be able to prioritize them. You're going to reflect on those activities and break them down into tasks when possible. So they're even going to be even smaller. And then the more specific you are, the better, because the more specific you are is we can start to really identify how much time each one of those tasks is going to take. So smaller tasks are also more actionable, and they're also less intimidating. So the more you break it down, the more easily almost like your brain processes it, so that your brain will think, oh, I can do that, because you broke it down to such a small task, even though it can have a really big impact. And again, you can read the task list. So placing my order, we all have to do that, right? Reorganizing my files, planning my meeting, following up for the upcoming, or plan for the upcoming quarter. Valerie said this one, following up on no orders. All of these are tasks that maybe you need to get done within the next campaign. So now we need to figure out how to break them down. And this is going to help a lot with that. So you're going to look at some of the tasks that you write down in your application guide, and you're actually going to pop them into these quadrants. And you heard me speak to this at the beginning of the seminar. So things that are important and grow your business. Oh my gosh, it's what Nicole talked about earlier, right? So important, it grows my business. Things that are not urgent, so that's beyond this campaign. So maybe they're urgent, they're going to grow my business, but I can't fit them into this campaign. We're going to schedule them then for next campaign. Things that are urgent and are for this campaign. So they're going to grow your business, and you have to do them within this campaign, or something is going to happen. You're not going to hit a goal, right? Those are those actionable alert items. So, sales call to key customers. If you don't call your customers, you're probably, yes, Valerie said income producing. So if you don't call your customers, you're not going to have an order. If you don't coach your leaders who are at risk of losing their titles, then guess what? You're probably not going to make your title either, because you have somebody on your team losing their title. Following up on no orders. If you don't call those no orders or text those no orders or have something in place for no orders, then more than likely your team's going to fall short of their sales goal for your title, right? Get it? So super focused, have to get this done. It's on my schedule every single campaign. Then you've got things that are less important and not urgent, like running your business. So things, this is my fave, things you can delegate. It's always the most difficult for all of you, because you want to be in control of your business. And I get it. I do too. But think about people you can delegate things to. Can you delegate somebody to organize your office? Can you delegate somebody on your team to create a newsletter? Can you delegate somebody on your team or part of your family to stamp your brochures? Those are all things that can be delegated. That would free up a lot of your time, right? If you just had somebody that would stamp your brochures and pack your orders. right? And then cluster things. So I call this admin. Everything that's admin or delivery or something like that, you can cluster together. So you may have an hour where you do, I don't know, you do phone calls to customers who called you this week and need a return. So you may do all of that. And then you also may tie it into a leadership hour. So you have a leader hour where leaders on your team or anybody on your team can call you on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 11 to ask questions. So if nobody's calling you to ask questions, that's when you're replying to Susie who called you because she has a return. Okay. So just clustering all together. Make sense? We got this? So scheduling, focusing on, it's got to get done stuff, delegation, and then cluster. So cluster hours. I'm going to ask you on your calendar, what are your cluster hours and what tasks are you putting in those hours? Okay. Again, you want them to try to be income producing if possible. It may be things like Nicole said, she's sending out emails for referrals. So incentive emails, things like that. It's my admin hour, just so you guys know, and I'll show you my calendar too, but it's my admin hour that I do to cluster everything together. And then I have a cluster half an hour at the end, I'm air quoting, but at the end of my day where I return and follow up with any kind of text, social media, or emails that I've had throughout the day. And then setting yourself up for success, right? So limiting your distractions by creating and managing boundaries. So continue to focus on the more important and urgent tasks, which I think we understood those top quadrants. Setting appropriate expectations when out of the office. Ooh, do you guys do this? Do you even tell people that you're not working your Avon? I mean, what if you're on vacation? Or what if you have, Jennifer said, no. I always work my Avon. Think about you. You want to have personal time too. Establishing dedicated leader hours. And I can speak to you guys a little bit more about this on an individual basis because when you do start to have a team of 40, 80, 100, 500 representatives, you really are going to want to start to utilize this so that you're not getting everybody and their brother calling and texting you at all hours. So if you have dedicated couple hours a week to really be able to say, okay, I'm here to help you from, like I said, 10 to 11 on Tuesday mornings and 7 to 8 on Thursday night, please call me with anything you have. It's not to say you're not going to answer their call if they call you another time if it's urgent, but maybe try to establish those guidelines for them to see. And then finding a dedicated space. So Nicole said she loves to go to the library, which she does. She'll go there and work on her schedule, work on her emails, create anything she may have going on. But it's really what works for you. Coffee shops, I will tell you, work for me great. I love to go to the coffee shop because I love coffee. But I also just tend to get a whole lot more done there. For some reason, I don't know what it is. So I'll sit there and I'll really crank out some serious work in a couple hours. Restaurants, probably not. Hotel lobby are good because they're free. So those are always nice. Renting a conference room. Yeah, maybe if you have a team of 1,000 or more, you can afford to do that. But that would be another cost for you. Even if you have a quiet room in your house where you have, your office. Jennifer loves Big B Coffee Shop in Somerville. It's amazing. I look forward to coming there someday, Jennifer. It sounds amazing. I love coffee, so. So here is an example of a 2-week calendar. And these are things you want to ask yourself as you're doing your calendar. Does it reflect the right balance of activities and tasks to achieve short-term and long-term goals? We all talked about short-term and long-term in our goal setting, right? That very first page, we talked about what do you need coming up in the next 3 months, and then what do you need going forward, whatever that was for you. Was it 2 years? Was it 5 years? Was it 10 years? Was it 1 year? It was different for everyone. So does it reflect those activities in order to get you there? Am I planning to be busy or productive? I love that. So are you just looking busy and you're typing stuff into a sheet that you're never going to use? Are you actually doing something that's producing income? Can you delegate any of these tasks? it's always, like I said, it's always the hardest for everybody. So just keep thinking about it. I'm sure there's somebody you can delegate something to. Did I mark time for handling a cluster of tasks that are urgent but not important? Yeah, do you have that cluster item on there? And we'll look at her schedule and see. And am I setting proper boundaries to be effective with my time? And I'll ask you guys this as we sit down at one-on-ones too, is, you know, do you have somebody, we all do, who maybe you need to have a conversation with because they're time saboteurs? So do you have somebody that calls you every day or every couple of days and wants to be on the phone with you for an hour or two? I know I have those people, so I'm sure you do too. So it's about setting boundary. Jennifer said, OMG, yes. So leader hours may really benefit you then, Jennifer, because it may be that you're saying, listen, my business is growing so quickly, and, you know, I really, you know, I enjoy our conversations, but at this point, you know, I've got a couple days a week where I'm opening it up to my leaders or all my representatives to contact me and chat during that hour. So feel free to call. I'll have a designated 10, 15 minutes for you because you don't want them to take up the whole hour either, right? Because somebody else might call you. Or what works for me is saying, I'd love to put you on my schedule. I have Monday at 2 available or Friday at 4. And you guys know I do this. So what time and day works best for you out of those 2 times? That way they're scheduled. There's no other reason that they're calling me. I have them on my schedule. Great. I will talk to you then Friday at 4. Thank you so much. Oh, it's friends that take up. Yeah, Jennifer, absolutely. Friends and family will definitely sabotage and manipulate a lot of your time. So it again has to be like, listen, I'm working, right? They suck the life out of you sometimes. So I'm working. You can schedule them. I would love to talk to you. I totally get what you're going through. I just can't talk right now. Can I call you back tomorrow at 9 o'clock? It gets some taking used to, believe me. Like, you really at first are going to be like, oh, I feel bad. They're going to hate me. But don't worry about that. You're running your business, and in order to be effective at your business, you have to set these boundaries with everybody in your life. Okay, so let's look at this mock-up schedule, and I just want to make sure, so look at it pretty closely. I want to make sure you guys don't have any questions on it. So you can see this person seems like she probably has kids that are in school because she only works until 2 o'clock, 2:15 every day. She probably has to go pick her kids up. And then she works sometimes in the evenings as well. So that's kind of what I get from this schedule. So planning the week, she does on Monday mornings. Oh my gosh, so do I. I love that. She does some follow-up in here. So make 5 contacts, make 5 contacts, you see here. She's doing a fundraiser here. Leader hours with downline questions. See that right there? So from 9 to 11-ish on Fridays, she has that space available for people on her team to call her. Why do you guys think she has this white space available? See this space? It's purple on here, but we call it white space.
That's probably for lunch, I guess, like get something to eat or...
Well, she's lunching. It could be. I write lunch on my calendar, guys, just so you know. If I don't write lunch in, guess what? I got a problem. I won't eat. So right after our call today, like on my calendar, it'll alert me and say 12:30 lunch. And I'm like, all right, Jess, take a break. It's time for a break. She has lunch with Carol right here. Jennifer said, yeah, in case something runs over maybe. That's a good thing. Yep, absolutely. Something might run over. You need a little bit of buffer time. What else? Remember we talked about those calls that we get and having to place them in somewhere? Might be one of those times, right? So maybe she gets a call from Sally on Monday at 11, and she's like, all right, Sally, well, I'm getting ready to plan my social media activities. Oops, sorry, guys, at 11, and I'm not going to be able to be on this call. I got to stick to my schedule or it throws my whole day off, right? I'm trying to go back for you. So she tells Sally, I have Wednesday at 11 available. How's that work? And she pops her in. See that? So white space is good. White space is also good because maybe you didn't get all of your social media activities done on Monday, and you have to pop it in here for 20 minutes on Tuesday because you've got a little bit of time. Maybe you're eating your sandwich and you're doing it, okay? You're finishing up anything from Monday. Kind of makes sense. I know Nicole said she needs this in her life. So, Nicole, you can look at this on here. This is not real life to you guys, honestly. I mean, you've got so much more going on than just this little bit that's on here, but it's a good representation of what your calendar should look like. And this is somebody who's working probably what? Who's working 9 to 2 every day. That's 5 hours a day. So she's doing about 25 hours a week, roughly, probably a little bit more. So she's working pretty full time on her business. She's got meetings and trainings at night too. Do you guys like this? Do you like the flow? And you'll see some things repeating too. So what would happen in this first week is in this following week over here, she would set everything on her calendar to probably just repeat. And I can show you how to do that. What was that?
I'm sorry, Jessica. I took a time management class, and one of the things that they said to us is to sit down and plan your a weekly calendar, but you have to put on the calendar your family.
Yeah.
You see here, the thing about planning time is there's so much unpredictability in planning time, but there are things that have to go on.
Right.
Like I have to get the kids up in the morning. I have to go pick them up at 3 o'clock every single day. I have to be home by 5 o'clock. Those are the things you automatically put on your calendar.
Yeah.
Because then you can see that, okay, I don't have that space to do these activities. I don't have that space, but I do have this space. So I do have this space. So yeah, this is good. But you got to put some life on here because. So
her life would probably be the reason why she's running the middle school fundraiser is because she just dropped her kids off at school at 7:30 and she's already at the school. And that's why she's doing 7:30 to 9 for the fundraiser.
Okay.
So yeah, I agree with you. Pop it in there first and that works a lot of the time too for figuring out how much time you really have to devote to Avon. Because if you pop all your personal stuff on there, your doctor's appointment, running your mom to her doctor's appointment, dropping the kids off at school, picking the kids up, going to the kids' jog that you have on Friday, which I do, but I'm not going. My husband's going. But like all that little stuff that you already know is coming for pretty much the whole month. I mean, we know we have a doctor's appointment coming up November 11th, right? Yeah, we know that. So let's put it on there. And then popping in your Avon time. Because for you guys especially, and for me, our times might change a lot. Like I would like to say I work an 8 to 5, but guess what? Reality is I don't work an 8 to 5. I sometimes work an 8 to 7. I sometimes work a 10:30 to 9. Or I take a couple hour break in between. I mean, you guys all have that kind of schedule too. It's why you do what you do because you have a flexible schedule. So it's not always going to work out. But if you can try to have it reoccur as much as possible and start to set the standard, then things will start to fall into place and your life will seem a lot less hectic.
Yes, and like say you do have the doctor's appointment. So then you could say, oh, okay, so let me get some sampling together so I can give to the nurses.
Love it.
Or let me get some books together so I can hand out to the nurses.
Great.
Or I got to go to the grocery store after the doctor. Let me get some things together so I can hand out at the grocery store.
Great.
So that flow means life goes in with your business. So there is no, stressfulness because this is what it is.
So you already took care of your 5 by 5 that day because you have 2 errands to run. You have to go to the doctor and you have to go to the grocery store. So you can talk to 5 people in that 2-hour period. Now it's about putting the task on your calendar beforehand of getting everything together. So maybe putting 15, 20, 30 minutes on your calendar saying prepping for outreach today. Whatever it looks like to you, sampling and brochures for the doctor. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But a lot of people forget about those preparation tasks for like an event. How long does it take you guys to pack up and plan for an event? A long time. But do you ever plan that, or do you just kind of go with the flow?
I'm good with my home parties. I haven't done any table events. Sorry, I was trying to figure out the button to raise my hand. But
I won't do it anyway.
Okay, but when it comes to my home parties, it really doesn't take me that long to plan them. Probably because it's something that I do regularly. Maybe
Right.
the first time it took me a while, but in my office, I have a box that is my setup specifically for my home parties. So it's like one of those plastic, Rubbermaid Tupperware containers.
Yeah.
It's got my tablecloths. It's got my runner. It has my displays. It has my card holder. I make sure I keep up-to-date recruiting information in there. I make sure I keep up-to-date campaigns in there, my business card, and then, the only thing that I rotate is the product, because I'm always showing
the current.
There's what's new. But I think it's easier for me because I'm doing home parties. So Jennifer says it takes her an hour to set up table events and an hour to take down. Actually, that's pretty dang fast. Good job, Jennifer. Because I do know some people, like, it takes them a long time. So I do know that when you're doing like outdoor vendor events, it takes more time to set up. It also takes more time for planning because you have to find the events, you got to register for the events, you got to plan for the events, you got to and then what if it rains and blah, 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 blah. And that is primarily one of the biggest reasons why I mostly do home parties. I will venture into vendor events soon because I love doing vendor events. I always help out my friends. I have a lot of friends who are artists and they do vendor events, and they'll let me come to help them. And then the compensation is that they allow me to hand out my Avon campaigns and talk to people and meet to people. So, so that works out. But that's just why I like doing home parties, because it's simple. It's quick.
And I love that you have it already set up and you keep up with it. But my point to like a vendor event is, are you planning for that drive time, or are you just putting on your schedule that you have an event from 6 to 8?
Oh, yeah.
Do you just have it on your schedule? You have from 6 to 8? Because we just know from Jennifer, she said she really needs from 5 to 9 blocked out on her calendar. So from 5 to 9, nobody should be calling her, right? She's at a vendor event. She can't call people back. Like, she's trying to get ready. It takes a lot into it. And then drive time too. So really maybe it's an hour away. So maybe she has 4 to 10 blocked out. Not that you can't be making calls or doing something like that while you're, driving. Not that I'm saying to do that, because I'm not. Please be safe. But you can definitely cluster some stuff into that hour, I'm sure, of drive time. But those are the things that I really want you guys to keep in mind, because you may say you only have 15 hours to dedicate to Avon, but you may be really dedicating 20, 25, 30 hours. Because you're not compensating for those drive times and those, like Jennifer and Lori both said they work their Avon 24/7. Like, if somebody calls them, they pick up the phone. So, I mean, that's a lot of time to be devoting. You guys need to have, your own time, and I'm hoping you are. As we speak one-on-one, I'm hoping that, I find that out about you, and that you're really not working 80 plus hours a week. So, well, here is the application guide. It's self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through it word for word with you. I mean, we just went through everything in quite a lot of detail, and so it's exactly what was on the slides. The only thing is, again, that 2-week calendar. Don't worry about filling it out if you already have a calendar. And your calendar can be a virtual calendar, so maybe it's on your phone or it's in your email, or it can be a written planner and you can just take a picture of it for me. But you want to start to think about the time you're allotting for everything. And that's also hard for everyone is, okay, so I have to call my hold orders. How much time am I allowing myself to call those hold orders? Am I just saying, oh, it doesn't matter, it's just as long as it gets done, then I'm good? Or am I saying I should be able to call 5 hold orders within, a half an hour, and scheduling 30 minutes of a time? So assigning time to each one of your tasks. And sometimes you don't know. Sometimes we don't know until we've done it, right? And then we can go back and adjust the time, but kind of guesstimating, because that's how you're going to figure out how many hours you're devoting to Avon. Any questions on the application guide? And I did send all of this to you guys this morning. You see anything on there? It's literally everything we've just talked about. And then here's our next hot topic question. Is share an experience in your past when you got lost. Explain how it made you feel and how you overcame it. It can be geography lost. It can be lost in something else. Okay? And Nicole said she doesn't know because she doesn't put it on paper. She needs to put it on paper. And that's what we find out a lot of the time too. Until you write it down, you don't really realize how much time you're spending on the business. You might be surprised that you're really spending a lot more time or a lot less time than you thought you were. And then one of my favorites is a goal without, I didn't advance slides. One of my favorites is a goal without a plan is just a wish. And that's so true, right? Whatever you said earlier, Valerie, we can't remember which way it is, but you said think to ink, right? So if you don't write it down and you don't really have a plan in place, an effective, efficient plan in place, you're just throwing it out there, right? Hoping it happens. Let's not hope, let's really have a good plan in place so that every single one of you can not only meet your personal short-term goal, your long-term goal, but every one of you can go to Los Cabos. I mean, let's do this. Let's make a plan, okay? You guys definitely have a great representation of what your plans should look like, and I'm excited to see what it is. If you have questions about planning along the way, please call me. Please let me know. I'm here to help you if you need help, okay? But let's get you all to Mexico. It sounds like across the board you guys all want to go, so let's get you there. Love it that you could all celebrate together, right? That'd be so cool. Does anybody have anything else they need to leave with or any kind of questions? No questions? Great. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. I know I just want to reiterate to Jennifer and Lori that are on the call, we will be setting up with your goal setting this week. So we'll have you guys all caught up. And thank you so much for being so adaptable and jumping right into this coaching class. I know you guys will get a lot out of it. Jennifer, what did you just post on here? I'm missing something in the chat box. Sorry. I think out loud a lot of the time. So
she said she needed a calendar with breaks down the date and the hour. So I sent her a link to ibuyofficesupply.com. It's a week planner that breaks it down. Because I was just looking at one for me while I was listening to you.
Yeah.
And this breaks it down into 15 minutes.
I love those. So those calendars are so fantastic. Like the ones, the ones that you can get that just have like a block and it shows you the day. Those are probably not the best to utilize for this kind of exercise. You want to use something like what Jennifer just put on here. It's either like an hourly or 15 minutes. I mean, you could be uber specific with what you're doing with your time if you have it broken down every 15 minutes. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, this one also says convenient quarterly planners for current and following year. Includes note pages, telephone and address section, and tear off corners.
Woo! Okay.
And it was made using wood source from a certified managed forest.
Oh, well, we love that.
So
sustainable. So we love that, right? Okay, good.
And so it's only $8.78.
Oh, that's a great deal. So it's in, and please don't think that I'm promoting you guys buying a whole new calendar or anything. Don't do that if you don't want to, but this is a great resource for you if you don't, and it seems to be pretty inexpensive. You can also, I'm sure there's something online like a Google you can search, and you can probably print a sheet or a calendar for free. So just
and this is for the 2019 year. So
oh, good.
So I was just thinking ahead, going ahead and getting one for started.
Yeah, because you probably won't be able to find a calendar for right now because we're right at the end of the year. So hopefully you guys have something already that you're using. Or, I mean, I love my Google Calendar. I love just, I have Outlook, but I mean, Google's good, Outlook's good if you want to use electronic. But if you don't and you like a paper planner, I mean, I used it for years. I loved it. So whatever works for you, okay? And we'll leave.
I need to write it down and keep it in my phone.
Yeah, you need to write it down.
I have to do both. I have to write it down and then turn around and put it in my phone, or I forget.
I agree. Well, I like the alerts on my phone. I mean, that's the biggest thing that I'm out. And believe me, I need it so much right now. I mean, I will forget that I have a 2 o'clock and I'll be doing something else and it'll pop up and say you have a 2 o'clock call. And I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. Woo!
Yeah.
So it really is helpful. So just whatever works for you. Again, don't feel like you need to do one or the other or both. You do what works for you. And we'll leave you with that. But thank you, Jennifer. If you guys want to see that, it's in the chat box. You can just click on the link. And if you guys need me, let me know. I have one-on-one set up with all of you. We'll talk about that as we get closer and reminders and things like that. Okay. But if you need me, let me know. I'm here for you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. Have a great week.
You too.